Welcome to the Fit Biz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young. And whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. Welcome back to the Fit Biz Accelerator. Today's episode is going to hit different because we're not talking about lead gen. We're not talking about offers. We're talking about what's underneath of all of it. And if you're an online fitness coach making decent money, but you still feel like you're just pushing harder than you should, still procrastinating, and you still have doubt in your head, you're still hitting your income ceilings, you're still sabotaging your consistency, then this conversation is for you. Today, I've got Yvonne Trost on the show, and she's a subconscious performance coach and certified hypnotherapist who helps high-achieving entrepreneurs rewire the hidden patterns that drive their behavior, their performance, and their decisions. And what I love about this is simple. Most coaches think their bottleneck is strategy, but the real bottleneck is programming. And Yvonne spent over 25 years leading global strategy in corporate and federal spaces and realizing something powerful. The biggest barriers to performance weren't structural, they were subconscious. That realization changed her life. She left a job she didn't love. She left an unhealthy marriage. She rebuilt her whole life. She built a business aligned with who she truly is. She found her true love, and now she helps other leaders do the same. And today, we're going to dive deep into how subconscious programming shapes your income, your body, and your leadership and your relationships, why self-sabotage isn't weakness, it's actually protection, why some coaches know what to do, but they still don't do it, how survival mode shows up in business, and how to rewire your subconscious to win in fitness and business. Yvonne, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm going to have you travel with me, Tobias. What a wonderful introduction.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. I appreciate you. And Yvonne, I want to start here. So many fitness coaches are disciplined in the gym. They know macros, they know systems, they know sales frameworks, but they still undercharge. They overthink and they avoid visibility, and they stay stuck at 5 to 8K months. They procrastinate launching, and they don't follow up with leads, and they're burnt out. From your perspective, what's actually happening beneath the surface?
That's really cool. Every subconscious mind is unique, and they're also the same. They're written on programs that usually were coded before you were 10 years old for the most part. If you're 35 or older, 95% of what you say, do, think, all of it is driven based upon your subconscious, and the grand majority was before you were 10. So I would say a couple things. It could be either side of the coin. Some people fear success. That sounds so strange, right? I've worked with entrepreneur after entrepreneur. They're like, what if I can't keep it up? What if people think I'm too good? What if people think I'm full of myself? I charge too much. What if people judge me? And then there's the other side of the coin where they fear or they don't believe they're not worthy. Right? They have what's called imposter syndrome. I can't charge that because maybe I've only been in this business for a year or 5 years, or I know somebody that's been in the business 10 years and he doesn't charge that. All of it is driven off of things that I call the Unfabulous Four. So you've heard of the Fabulous Four, right? The movie and the Marvel heroes. Yes. There's the Unfabulous Four. Fear, whether it's fear of what you think you know or what you don't know. Judgment of self, judgment of others. Doubt, self-doubt, self-sabotage over and over and over again. And the last one, self-pity or self-victimization. Some people think that it becomes a part of their identity, right? If I'm too successful, then maybe I won't get support because they were taught to be needy when they were little. They were taught to be like, oh, the sick one gets the attention, right? I'm sure some of you out there have had that where you were the sibling and your other sibling always got all the attention. But if you were sick, then you got a little extra special love. So it's very, very interesting. I can't tell you exactly what it is without working with each individual. What I can tell you, though, is that every single person's subconscious mind believes that their problem is a solution. Let me say that again. The subconscious mind believes your problem is a solution to something it fears is worse, right? So I am not going to charge too much. I'm going to keep struggling because that's better than if I try and charge what I'm actually worth and it takes a month or two. And then I might not be able to pay rent and I might not be able to pay my bills and I might not be able to support my family and all these things. But Tobias, let me just tell you this. None of that is true, because where is that fear coming from? Is it in the very moment? Like if they say, I'm going to charge $300 more an hour, will they starve in that very moment? Yes or no?
Not at the very moment.
No. So, but they think that they might because of something that happened in the past, right? So you're a really smart guy. Go into the past real quick and clap twice. You can't unless you got a time machine, right? Okay, so fine.
I was thinking, how am I going to do this?
Okay, so you sucked at that. Now just go into the future. Just clap once for me in the future. Can't do that either. So people have a fear, right? Not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not whatever it is, based upon the past or the future, which do not exist and are not real. So people are like, oh, hypnotherapy, I'm not sure I like that trance business. Everybody's in a social trance. We're in acceptable states of schizophrenia because we struggle and we operate off of what is not real, the past or the future. So here's what's happening. Hold up your right hand. Everybody listening, hold up your right hand. Now, gently, because you guys are all probably got really big muscles, hit yourself in the face. If you went around the gym and you did that in front of your clients, or when you're getting ready to sign up a new client, or we're trying to find a client, do you think the client would sign up with you? No, right?
Probably not. If you're slapping yourself in the face, it'd be like,
yeah. So hold up your hand and say, I have a hand.
I have a hand.
I'm not my hand.
I'm not my hand.
My hand's going to work for me.
My hand's going to work for me.
I'm not going to let it slap me around.
I'm not going to let it slap me around.
Exactly. So guess what? You have a mind. Say, I have a mind. I am not my mind.
I'm not my mind.
I'm not going to let my mind slap me around.
I'm not going to let my mind slap me around.
My mind's going to work for me.
Mine's going to work for me.
That is the key to it all. Because what's happening is everybody's mind is slapping you around. They just think, oh, nobody can see it, right? But you can see it in the results of your business, in the results of your life, in the results of your relationship. So if you are suffering or have a feeling of stuckness in anything, it's because your mind is slapping you around because it thinks it's protecting you, but actually it's self-sabotaging you. And so you're like, okay, great, Yvonne, now what, right? The good news is you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with your mind. It's actually operating, but it's operating what I call stuck operating procedures. You guys got your standard operating procedures if you're businessmen or women and you know this. Replace the standard with stuck, because in our society, standard is stuck. And we're going to hop over to healthy operating procedures, right? So you got a phone, right, Tobias?
I do.
Oh, look, there's my cute little son and my dog. Okay, so you got a phone. And if you didn't upgrade the software on your phone, what would happen to your phone?
It wouldn't work as well.
No. And probably it would break down. And eventually planned obsolescence, you'd have to buy a new one because the companies are going to make sure of it.
Yeah.
So your creator did something similar. Your mind, the brain itself and your body is the hardware, but it runs on the software in your subconscious mind for the most part. And we weren't taught human being 101, 201, 301, 401. You guys are learning the ins and outs of muscle development, right? Even maybe alignment and breathing and all the great stuff. But the mind, body, spirit connection is real. You cannot compartmentalize it like we like to do things in Western society, right? We go to the gym for our trainer and we go to the therapist for our mind and we go to the doctor for our heart, but they're not talking to each other. So here, guys, this is where you guys become the differentiator. You're the integrator. They're coming to you. You're not just helping them with their muscles. They're telling you about their problems, probably. A lot of you probably feel like therapists if you're training 101, right? It all comes out. And so this is where you guys get to differentiate and upgrade not only the code in your own mind, but learn how to do it for your clients so that you create an experience. Anybody can learn. And now with ChatGPT, Gemini, we can all go out there. I mean, I even did it. I signed myself up for Trainer Eyes to be my own little coach because I'm like, I'm going to save money and I'm just going to do a ChatGPT. And I did that. By the time I got all that crap loaded up and blah, blah, I'm like, who's got time to actually go to the gym now? So I hired somebody, not because I couldn't do it, but I hired somebody who I felt connected to, who I felt I trusted, who I felt is there for my mind, body, and spirit. And I want that for you guys too. Not only so you upgrade your own code and you don't self-sabotage anymore and you live vibrant and free and radiant, you're not chasing clients. You're attracting them because you become a magnet. And if you remember one thing today, remember you don't get what you want. You get what you are. And when you are what you want, you will attract more of it. Have you ever tuned a radio, Tobias? Like, remember back in the day
I
where you had
do.
to
Yeah.
you had to
Yep.
tune it?
Turned out.
Yeah, and you're like, crap, and I gotta get it just
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
We're no different. We're all energy. We're all energy. It's proven. It's not just go Google it. Science has proven it, right? Yogis have known it for thousands of years. When we tune to our highest frequency, that's what this is about. When we tune to our highest frequency, you don't have to chase success. You don't have to chase money. You don't have to chase abundance. You don't have to chase clients. You have clarity and you're crystal clear. And there's harmony. And when there's harmony and clarity, and you just, that music, right? At the beginning of the call, Tobias, you're playing the music. I couldn't sit still in my seat. We're no different. So that's what today's about. Tuning you guys up so other people can tune in.
I love it. Let's keep I want to talk real quick about self-sabotage because I heard you mention that because I see this constantly. Coaches say they want consistent $10,000 or $20,000 months, right? But they don't even post consistently. They don't even make offers. They avoid those uncomfortable conversations. They hesitate to raise their prices. And instead of realizing it's subconscious protection, they just start thinking to themselves like that they're lazy or that they need more discipline or they need a better planner. So can you break down just briefly what self-sabotage really is?
Yeah. And you have a great example there. Let's take this. This is called, if you go to my website, unlocklimitlessyou.com, there's /resources. There's something there called the limiting belief lie detector. And so I want to walk through it with this example, right? So the example you just gave, somebody has this limiting belief. If I put myself out there, I will be judged. I won't be successful, right? Whatever it is they're thinking, why they're not doing it, or I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, or I need somebody else to figure it out for me. And then I'll just pay them. And then, but it's outside of me. Like they have this limiting belief because they think, okay, and it's interesting. You answer your own questions here in this limiting belief lie detector. It's like, if I posted consistently and I raise my prices, you play the listener, Tobias. Because that's what we want, right? If I posted consistently, I raised my prices and I attracted clientele to get my consistent months, then a bad thing might happen. What bad thing might happen? What do you think their subconscious thinks?
Man, a bad thing that would happen from doing the right things. They might think maybe it's they don't have the time or they're not a good enough coach or I don't know. I don't know what you're rocking to from that.
So quite often the self-sabotage, like you said, is our subconscious mind trying to protect us. It has a limiting belief, and that limiting belief is what it thinks is using to protect us, but it's actually harming us. So let's walk through the limiting belief lie detector that people can download and play with at home. But I think this is going to help explain what self-sabotage is. And people are like, oh my God, I see it, right? So if I got the revenue I wanted, if I posted consistently, if I attracted the clients, a bad thing might happen. Bad thing might happen. What do you hear from your clients?
I don't hear any bad things from that, to be honest.
Well, think about it this way. I might get tired. I might have more clients than I actually really want because I like my freedom and flexibility. I might get overwhelmed. I might not be able to handle it. I might fail. All these things. And when I work with clients one-on-one, it's weird how they're like, oh my God, where did that come from? But that comes out, right? And so then they do what they do in the moment. Well, I only post when I want to post. And I think I'm going to get what I need, but I don't want to post too much. So, or I don't go on nice vacations, right? What is the suffering that you put up with, right?
Yeah.
I don't go on nice vacations. I eat ramen noodles, whatever it is, whatever the suffering or the stuckness is, whatever it is that you put up with, right? Because it's better than the thing that I fear is worse, right? And sometimes they say the same thing or sometimes something else comes up. So you don't need to work harder. You don't need to try harder. You don't need to hire more people. You don't need to hustle. You need to understand what you want. You need to understand what your desire is and then get to the root of what blockers you're putting in the way and why. And so when I work with people, whether we actually leverage hypnotherapy or we leverage conversational hypnosis or whatever it is that I do with them, we find out what the root is. Some people don't even want to be in the business that they're in, but they think they have to, right? And so when you were saying, try harder, blah, 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 blah. If you were a kid, or even let's say you're not a kid, and say you're my client, and I'm like, Tobias, you need to try harder. Tobias, what is the matter with you? Tobias, it's so simple. Why don't you just do this, this, and this? Tobias, give me another 20K and maybe I can help you. Is any of that motivating? It's not. But we were taught as children to motivate ourselves with judgment. Get the straight A's. I got grounded if I didn't get straight A's, right? Doesn't sound like a big T trauma, but it kept me in a career for 25 years, not doing what I wanted to do, not being my best self, right? Why can't you be like Tommy? Why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like Hannah? Why can't our parents most of the time did it lovingly? This isn't about blaming them. They did the best they could and they were conditioned to survive. And so out of fear, not out of thriving, not out of abundance, not out of prosperity, not out of your brain was trained over and over and over again. If you beat yourself up, if you judge yourself, you'll work a little harder, right? And sometimes I really hope as trainers, you guys aren't doing this to your clients. I want you to start doing what's loving to you, what's loving to your clients. Because here's the thing. And whether you want to say loving or good for you, whatever it is, sometimes people think I'm too woo-woo. I don't really care. Ask yourself, is it loving to me? And if it doesn't feel loving to me, why? So your example, Tobias, I was the same. So I was in corporate America for 25 years. I didn't even go on social media. Right. I did when I first had my kids because it was free and easier to share pictures with my family in the Midwest, but definitely not after my marriage fell apart. Definitely not after I was a single mom, because everybody's posting all the perfect stuff out there, all the glass houses. It looks so pretty. And I judged myself hard. And I actually got depressed when I went out there. I don't have that family. I don't have that trip. This is before I did to myself what now I help my clients transform.
Yeah.
And when I had a coach and he's like, you have to post whatever, like video. And we did it within this little private group. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the first time I posted a video on social media. Like it felt so weird. Yeah. I had the imposter syndrome. I had like, do I have, something in my teeth? Like, what does my hair look like? Does, whatever, like all this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Because I was wearing that heavy mask that I was judged with for so often. And it wasn't until I realized what was at the root of my self-sabotage was feeling like I was never enough until I was perfect, until I got the straight A's, until I was like my friend Hannah, who was always like the first at everything, except band. Yes, I did go to band camp and I was first chair and alto saxophone. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah. But always the things, right? And it's so simple. It wasn't even big T trauma. Some people, Tobias, have big T trauma out there. And that's why they self-sabotage, because their mind. Okay, so inside every single one of us is a subconscious mind of a young child. And until we show that child and we connect with that child that they're no longer a child, our brain, here's a self-sabotage, something else for you to remember. The subconscious sees similar as same. The subconscious sees similar as same. So for me, when I was going to be publicly, out there, right? People could see videos, just like if I was in track and field, right? And trying to run my little darndest, but I'm only 5'5", ladies and gentlemen. So it was really hard for me to win first place. I usually got second, right? And then I was compared, like similar as same, competition, right? Brain says, okay, hide because it sucks really bad. We were hurt, right? But when you're a child, this is really cool. I want you guys to listen to this for your clients too. When you were a child, Tobias, what did you have control over? Think of yourself of 7, 8, 9. What did you have control over?
My bowls of cereal.
Ding, 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 ding. Food, what you put in your mouth. So that's the only thing that you had access to that you could really control. You couldn't get in the car. You couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't even really call a friend very easily. Maybe you only had friends in the places that your parents let you have friends in. So you went to food, because what does food do when you eat it? What does it do chemically?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why? What's happening in your body?
Your endorphins are getting released.
Yeah. And dopamine, right? They've done studies where they take those sensors in your brain out of mice and they don't eat, they don't procreate, they don't do much of anything. It's required for motivation, for connection, for love. Guys, this is not what we're taught in sex ed in high school or any other class about our own human being. Your clients don't know it either. Very, very, very few clients have had the education on the most complex thing on the planet. So we've built rockets, we've built AI, we've built all these really complicated things. And think about how many years of training and education people needed to do that. Tobias, how many years did you get trained on your human being?
Human being, like just on
Yeah, mind, body, and spirit on a human being, how the machine of a human being works.
Yeah, we don't get really trained on that as we grow up.
But yet I don't think so. I don't really watch TV or the news, but I don't think we've cloned a human being that is known anyway, right? Like we can't make another Tobias, right?
No, not yet.
No.
Well, that we're aware of, yes.
That we're aware of. And even if we could, it's very, very complicated, right? So if I put you like on a spaceship and I said, launch yourself, go to the moon, come back, go around the earth, even like get in a jet fighter, forget the spaceship, get in a jet fighter, Tobias, and fly. But you've had no training. What's going to happen?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to perform very well in your,
yeah.
in your you don't know what to do. Yeah.
Exactly. So Tobias said, you know all about macros and all about muscles and all about all that. Awesome. You're way ahead of most of the game, most of the people. Now learn about the rest of you because you're trying to fly that rocket and you're self-sabotaging just because you don't know how your mind works. You don't even know what code it's running on. That's what I help people do. I help people get to the root of it. What's going on in their subconscious mind? What is it that they fear, doubt, judge? Why? And then we connect the conscious with the subconscious. And we see that the very thing that our subconscious mind is doing because it thinks it's helping us by not posting, right? By not asking for money for what we're worth. The very reason we're doing that, the fear, the thing that we're worried about, we're creating, not protecting ourselves from. And once you see that truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you learn the truth, Tobias, it's really hard to suffer.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh my God, I'm slapping myself in the face. I'm not going to do that anymore. And it takes time, just not a lot of time, right? Like I help people and in less than, well, the session that they have this, most of this session is in less than 3 hours. But then with my coaching in less than 2 months, we do the reps, not just like awareness. Awareness is key. You start with realize what's going on, conscious, subconscious. You choose your recode. Tobias, do you know, I'm in this program, this fitness program, and there are some women that are asking the owner and the trainer, well, what should I want? How do I know when I'm done? And I'm thinking to myself, well, you got to ask yourself that question. Because if somebody else is wanting it for you, or you're doing it for somebody else, that's not sustainable. And that doesn't feel good either. So, guys, listen, why are you in your business? Why do you do what you do? There's another really cool thing, free resource on my website, unlocklimitlessyou.com/resources. It's called Getting to the Root. And whatever your wish is, you ask yourself, it's not complicated. It's not rocket science, but it is profound. Why is that important to me? And then you take that answer and you say, why is that important to me? And you keep going 6 or 7 times. And then when you get to the root of it, you're like, oh my God.
Yep. It's crazy. You're deeper.
And you start operating.
You
start operating differently. And you shift over to a healthy operating procedure. And you stop doing the reason people aren't posting is because they're judging themselves or they just don't want to do it. And if you don't want to do something, it doesn't matter how many times you talk to Tobias or listen to me, you're not going to do it on your own. So I don't tell people what they should do. I don't shit all over people. I find out what it is they really want. And we recode with that. Not with what Tobias thinks, not with what I think, not with what your parents think, not with your friends think. What do you want? And that's what we code with. And then you do the reps, you rewrite, and you see, and you show, this is the answer. You show your subconscious mind, just like you show your clients, right? You work with them. And when you work with them and you do the reps, they see results, right? The same thing with your subconscious mind. It's not going to necessarily just do it on its own. You show it you're safe. You show it you're good enough. You show it that, oh, I can do what I want, what feels good, and not die.
Yep. And in fitness, we understand adaptation. If you stress the muscle, it adapts. But nobody talks about how the subconscious adapts to protect you. So let's go deeper on that. How does subconscious programming affect health and affect fitness specifically? Why do some people lose weight and gain it back? Why do coaches preach discipline, but then secretly struggle with consistency themselves?
Yeah, I love that. So I want to talk about this adaptation until I think it was like the 70s, which is relatively new in mental health and understanding of the human. But they thought you would be hardwired. So your brain, if you've heard of it, if you haven't, go Google it. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, meaning, just like you said, your brain can adapt. So when you think a thought and then you have an action, there's a neural pathway, two neurons connect. And the more you do that, you create these neural pathways. And that's how we run on autopilot. So that's why when we're under 10, right, you don't have to think about brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about, putting your socks on, right? We're very sophisticated bodies and beings. And so we are able to have these automatic programs. Because if not, think about if you had to think about everything all the time, you wouldn't get very far. So what happens though is with the adaptation and with the guide, right? I tell people I'm a subconscious safari guide. With a guide, just like you guys coach people to adapt your muscles and to get stronger, we can also adapt the neural pathways. So think about it this way. Your neurons, let's just say, are held together by glue, and that glue holds the neural path, right? Think of it like a road that you travel on. There's only so much glue in your brain. So the more times you travel a different road, it has to take the glue from the old road to create the new road. So you create a neural pathway, you create a new you, an adaptation, a stronger muscle, a stronger mind, a mind that does what you choose, that works for you and is loving to you. So if you've had clients and they made progress, but they relied on you, right? And then they go on vacation and you're not there, or maybe they stop with you for a while and then they lose all the results and then they have to come back and they're like, why didn't it work? Is that what you're talking about? Things like that, right?
Yes.
Because they believe that it's you that's doing it. See, I tell people my job is to make it so you don't need me anymore for the thing that you first came to me for. And you don't need me for the next, but you want me because you know it works faster and you get stronger. Same thing with you guys, right? You teach them the mechanics, you teach them the macros, and then they could use ChatGPT. It's not that hard, right? Even though it might not be accurate all the time. But the thing is, you want them to want you, not need you. Mm-hmm. That's when it lasts, because then they choose. They choose what's loving to them, right? You teach them what's loving to them, what's loving to their body, what's loving to their muscle, what's loving to their life, what's loving to their routine. And then they love themselves. And then they say, oh yeah, I think I want to go do like amateur, like bodybuilding or something. And I'm going to go keep working with Tobias because he got me here and he can take me to the next level. That's why I call my company Limitless You and my website Unlock Limitless You, because we are all limitless. But Tobias, what happens is if people think that they're limited and they need something outside of them, that's when things break down. That's when there's not consistency, right? So like say a business owner, the other thing you mentioned is why are they not consistent themselves, right? They also think that it's all about hard work and discipline. But guess what? That leads to burnout. That's not sustainable. Love, desire, passion, like you said, that deeper why. Mm-hmm. That's when you flow effortlessly.
Yep, so true. This is huge because a lot of coaches listening right now, they're not stuck because they don't know how to train. They're stuck because they're running on autopilot from childhood, autopilot from past failures, autopilot from rejection, autopilot from fear of judgment. So let's make this practical. If somebody listening realizes, okay, I've been operating from subconscious fear, what's one tool they can use immediately to start shifting?
So this is fascinating, this human being that we are. We have not adapted to our external state. So when we are in fear, right, and everything really kind of goes to fear, whether it's judgment or doubt or whatever, let's just simplify it and say fear. Our body has three options: fight, flight, or freeze. That's what we used to do. So when you're in fight, all this energy goes to your jaw, right? But I don't know about you, but biting somebody really hard is not a good strategy in anything in my life right now. How about yours?
Well, Mike Tyson would disagree. Just kidding. Just kidding. Tyson, sorry, dude. Don't be
Yeah. And so then if you're like, well, I can't fight this guy, right? I can't fight whatever. I feel like I can't control it. That's when people flee. So then all this energy goes to your legs and you got to run really fast. Or sometimes it's just so overwhelming. And so you just play dead and hope it all goes away. That's what our body is doing. And the mind has become the body. So your mind is connected to something called the vagus nerve, and that runs throughout all your body. And most of the signals go from your body to your mind, not the other way around. So your body will say what's going on. So the one thing, I'm going to get to that, but I want to explain why this one thing works, because if you don't know why, you're like, whatever, I've seen that. I don't, breathing doesn't really work for me, blah, blah, blah. This is why, guys, your body is going to be doing this, slapping you in the face. It's going to get all that energy. So a lot of people have anxiety, right? They say, I have anxiety. Well, do you know what anxiety is? It's fear of the fear. You're feeling something in your body that doesn't feel right. And then you're like, oh my God, this doesn't feel right. And then with whether you're conscious or unconscious of that feeling, then you're like, something must really be wrong because I don't feel right. Nothing that's real. Back to socially accepted schizophrenia. So your body's in charge of your mind quite often. And it doesn't know what it doesn't know because it still thinks that there's a lion or something chasing you and you're in imminent danger. So this is the first step. Why? And there's something really cool called the Joy Regenerator on my website too. It's all free. The Joy Regenerator. I'm going to teach you a little bit about it because this is what you can do. It's a life hack. There's so many things to share, but just super simple. The first one is loosen your jaw and let your mouth slightly open, like your lips parted. Nobody in danger is going to have a loose jaw with parted lips. Nobody. And if your mom said, close your mouth, a fly will come in, don't listen to her. And then I want you to take a deep breath in for 4 and blow out your mouth like blowing through a straw for 6. One more, in for 4, blow out through a straw for 6. One more, last one, in for 4 and out as long as you want. How does your body feel just from 3 breaths?
Or relaxed.
Yeah. Could you do that if a lion was chasing you?
No.
You couldn't even do that if somebody was like had a gun to your head, right? So that's the first step. Taking your body out of its automatic response. Otherwise, you will self-sabotage and your body will tell your mind, slap them in the face.
Nice.
And then you say, okay, one more trick. This is an easy one. Every single person has the subconscious mind of a child. Think of it that way, because most of it was developed before you're 10. You don't have to believe me. Go Google it. So you have an adult body and a subconscious, the autopilot program, the pilot of that rocket ship that you're more complicated in. I mean, just like visualize that guy. Close your eyes and look at like a jet fighter and put your 7-year-old self behind, what do you call it? The wheel, right? It's got a steering wheel. I think still. I don't know. I've never flown one. But see that. I mean, how would that feel? You'd be scared. You'd be nervous. You'd be doubting you could handle it. So that's what's happening. And every single thing somebody says or does, like Tobias, say you pissed me off really bad. The old Yvonne would have fought, man. Like you wouldn't want to tango with me. But now I know everything, that's just little Tobias in there. And everything he says or does is either a call for love or a show of love. Every single thing. So if somebody's being a jerk to you, you're like, how that guy deserves, right? You can't let him get away with that, blah, 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 blah. You're just poisoning yourself. That jerk doesn't care that you're mad at him or you're angry or whatever. In fact, he probably likes it because he's getting attention and that's how he learned to get attention. So think of this. This is how you remember this. So first, breathe deeply. Blow out through your mouth, keep your jaw loose, lips parted. Then think E equals MC squared. You know that Einstein's theory of, most of us had to memorize that, E equals MC squared, right? Mm-hmm. I can't tell you what those letters stand for that Einstein came up with, but I can tell you what mine are. I think it's matter, race, but anyway, we won't go there. The energy you want in your life, Tobias, is that mindful thinking with that peaceful after you breathe breath, raised to the power of compassion. Everybody has the child in them. And curiosity. Why am I feeling this way? Why are they doing that? Because guess what? This is the wildest thing we definitely did not learn in school. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with what's happening outside of you. Everything has to do with meaning each human being gives what's happening. You and I could be in the same rooms experiencing the exact same thing. We would have 2 totally different realities. Your reality and your clients too, guys. This is the coolest thing about what I call my vocation. I don't even call it a job now, because as I learn to become my higher self, I can teach others, not through a book, through experience. So do this, experiment, don't believe me, try it out, and then share it with your clients. Everything has to do with the meaning you give the things happening outside of you. And that meaning is based upon the subconscious programming. And it's only when you see what the heck has been programmed in there and you start upgrading it that your life changes. Even with nothing changing, your life changes.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
That is
fascinating and freeing. Freeing. Everybody that I work with, how do you feel? Oh my God, I feel so much lighter. I feel so free. Like, we just don't even know how bogged down and locked up we are. And if that's how you are, guess what? Where do you store that, Tobias?
Subconscious.
Yeah. And guess what else? In your body. And when you store stress in your body, what goes up? Cortisol, inflammation. And when those things go up, what happens? Do you like shed weight easily and effortlessly?
No, makes it hard to. Actually, opposite. Yeah.
Exactly. And what else do you want to do when your cortisol goes up? The one thing that you control when you were a kid.
Eat.
Chips, ice cream, drink.
Let's go.
All of it, guys. Isn't this cool? Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, this was powerful, Yvonne. And here's what I want everybody listening to understand too, is you can have the perfect offer. You can have the best funnel. You can have the cleanest sales scripts. But if your subconscious believes it's not safe to be visible, it's not safe to make more money than my parents, it's not safe to outgrow people or my former self, you will unconsciously slow yourself down. Business growth is personal growth. Fitness transformation is identity transformation, and identity lives in the subconscious. Yvonne, thank you for coming on and sharing this. Let everyone know where they can connect with you and learn more about your work.
Absolutely. You can connect with me. What I would say, do this. Go to unlocklimitlessyou.com. There are free resources there. One of the coolest things, it will take you less than 5 minutes. It's called our self-love quiz. It's 12 questions. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. Don't let us go to your junk, because I'm going to send you tailored emails. I hate email, but it's how I can communicate with you until you call me, that are based upon your answers. And it will give you insight into your way of being with yourself and your way with others that's driven by your subconscious, and ideas and things that you can experiment with and try to unlock limitless you. And then all you have to do, you can take that quiz. You don't have to call me, but if you want, I'll give you a free call. unlocklimitlessyou.com/call. That's all you have to do. Just set up a call, take the quiz, play with the free resources. And if you do come my way, just say that Tobias sent you, because we would love to spread the love to him and his audience.
Thank you, Yvonne. And if this episode hits you, don't just nod your head and move on. Ask yourself, where am I running on autopilot? Where am I playing safe? Where am I playing small? What fear is disguised as logic? Because the next level of your business, it might not require more strategy. It might require rewiring. And if you got value from this, screenshot this episode, tag me, tag Yvonne, and share your biggest breakthrough. And as always, let's build a business that doesn't just make more money, it builds the man or woman that you're meant to become. I'll see you on the next episode of the FitBiz Accelerator. Thanks for tuning into the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.